Hello, Gene Schwimmer here. Welcome to today's vlog, which I think is going to be a short one today. I say that all the time. Well, not all the time. A lot of the time usually doesn't turn out that way. But today, for sure, I hope. I just want to give you a short little item here, then on to the main subject. The short little item is another example of media bias. I have been talking about this for several days, and yesterday I actually did a fake news media bias update, the first of what it looks like is going to be a series of such updates. This time I'm not going to make that the main subject, so you can see it's a different title. But this bears mentioning because it's an example of, I said that there were examples of offenses of commission and of omission. Omission being failing to report something that should be reported. This is an offense of commission, reporting news that is just out and out false. I'll just go right down the line here with the headline and a couple of, well, 3 quotes. Here we go. Johns Hopkins study, USA more prepared for pandemic than any other country. Despite claims by the mainstream media and the Democratic Party that the United States was, quote, ill-prepared, unquote, to handle the coronavirus pandemic, and that actions by Trump administration made us vulnerable. I guess that's supposed to be by the Trump administration. It's a little typo there. I took it right from the article. And that actions by the Trump administration made us vulnerable. The United States was actually ranked the best prepared country in the world to handle a pandemic in a study by Nuclear Threat Initiative, NTI, and the Johns Hopkins Center for Health Security, JHCHS, published in late 2019. The United States Global Health Security Index score was 83.5 out of 100, the highest overall score of 195 countries. The United Kingdom came in second with a score of 77.9. Italy, which has experienced significant difficulties in handling the outbreak in their country, scored 56.2. Iran, which is also struggling to handle the pandemic, scored 37.7. The Trump administration has been the target of a significant amount of misinformation being disseminated by the Democrats and the mainstream media, designed to undermine confidence in the administration's handling of the pandemic, including false reports that Trump, quote, dissolved, unquote, the White House Pandemic Response Office, and that Trump cut funding to the CDC and NIH. There you have it, several examples in one article of false news, fake news, erroneous reports disseminated by the supposedly fair and objective and informative news media. That's the minor item for today. Now on to the main subject, which is just a suggestion. Donald Trump, the president, has been talking about trying to get Americans back to work as soon as possible. We've all been sitting in our homes. Today, where I am in Cordova, Tennessee, right outside of Memphis, everything is closed except, I guess, the grocery store and the gas stations. Even the Barnes & Noble bookstore is closed. There's literally nowhere to go. I've been driving to the grocery store, even though I don't really need anything, just to get out of the house and to have somewhere to go, walk, look around, and then I come right back home. Trump has, for obvious reasons, been stating his intention to get America back to work as soon as possible. And actually, there is in that another example of fake news, because the media, or much of the media, has been reporting, or at least creating the impression, that Trump wants to or intends to lift all these restrictions, tell everybody it's okay to go back to work, regardless of what Dr. Fauci, Dr. Birx, and other medical experts say, as if he's not going to listen to them. Of course he is, but I saw Dr. Fauci the other day in one of the daily updates, I think it was only yesterday, talking about getting people back to work, that not all parts of the country are the same. There are hot spots such as New York, Washington State, where you need the most stringent restrictions that you can have, but there are other parts of the country. Wyoming is a fairly large state. I think there are maybe, 350,000, 375,000 people in the whole state. That's just a few blocks of New York City, so you see the difference. So Trump has been talking about if it's possible to get people back to work in certain parts of the country. But I want to offer an additional suggestion. I don't know if anybody in the administration has thought about this. It seems obvious to me, but I've heard no discussion of it. But there is another possible criterion aside from geographical location, and that is age, if we're talking about getting people back to work. Because the people most in danger, the people most susceptible to dying from the coronavirus are older people who are mostly, not everybody, but mostly retired. People who are retired, number one, they're not going into work anyhow. They weren't going into work in the first place, so the restriction on going to work does not really apply to them. That's number one. Number two, older people, senior citizens, are getting Social Security. They are getting checks already every month from the government, so they don't really need government help. They already have a source of income, whatever they were getting before, and that's just Social Security. A lot of people also have savings and 401k plans, various other sources of income. So you can probably see what I'm getting at. Besides geographical area, to allow younger people to go back to work, provided that they observe social distancing, and especially social distancing, which they probably already are doing, from older people. As long as the younger people observe those restrictions, I personally don't see why they cannot be allowed to go back to work. And if you can't send everybody back to work because they work in close quarters, you can maybe alternate days. So half the workforce goes in one day, then the other half goes the other day, so that they can have empty desks or empty manufacturing stations and can be a certain distance apart from each other. That's my suggestion. I hope somebody in Congress is watching this, or the people watching this, somebody knows somebody in Congress, or if you know President Trump, even better. I wrote to my own Senator, Marsha Blackburn, making this very suggestion. We'll see what happens if the government takes my advice. They would, of course, be much better off if they took my advice, but that's not just on this subject. If they would just take my advice on every subject, watch my vlog every day, the country would be so much better off. And I personally would be so much better off. Well, you would be better off too watching my vlog, but I would be better off if you could give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Share it with anybody you think would also like the video. If you got any comments, you can put them in the comment section below the video. Good place also for any questions you might have, suggestions for future topics. I would love to get more subscribers, so subscribe, 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 and finally come back and see me again. I look forward to seeing all of you again, and until I see all of you again, bye.